In this video, I'm going to show you the fastest and easiest way to turn a lead into a client in your gym or your studio. And after selling over 2,500 new clients in my 4 gyms over the last 3 years and coaching hundreds of gym owners as the executive director of marketing for an international fitness franchise, I am very confident that these are the 2 best systems of selling that you can implement in your gym or your studio. So let's dive in and let's first start very high level. What are the 2 systems? Why you would want to choose one over the other? And then we're going to go deep and I'm going to walk through every single step so you can take it and install it into your gym or your studio. So the 2 different systems are what I call sales-based selling or service-based selling. Sales-based selling is where you're going to have a sales conversation with a lead. It's very simple. You get a lead, you book them for a sales appointment, you have that conversation, you sell them as a new client. Very simple. Now, the reason you might want to choose sales-based selling is because it's fast, it's simple, but it does require a little bit higher sales skills. The other system is what I call service-based selling. And this is where you're going to leverage your service or your client experience to help you do the selling. So you would want to choose this if maybe your sales skills are a little bit weaker or you don't have anyone on your team that could do sales. That is where you might want to choose sales-based selling. However, it is a longer drawn out process. You do get higher no-show rates. You have a higher chance of losing the prospect. So both have pros and cons. They both work very well. You just have to decide which would be the best fit for you. So let's start talking about sales-based selling. Now, this is my preferred method. This is what I did in my 4 original gyms, and it works extremely well. Now, this process involves either a sales call or an in-person meeting with that prospect. I call that meeting a roadmap session. Now, in my 4 gyms, we did sales calls and they work extremely well because there is very little friction. You can get a lead, book them for a call and make the sale all within the matter of hours. Now, sometimes I've heard gym owners think that like you can really sell a fitness program over the phone 1000%. And if you don't believe that you can, it's probably just because you haven't tried it yet. So that is my most preferred method is sales-based. But a level deeper is within the sales-based system, doing sales calls. Now, the reasons that you might choose to execute sales-based selling over service-based selling is because it's a faster sales process. Like I mentioned, you can get a lead, you could book a sales call and make that sale all within the matter of a couple hours. And because of that, you have a less chance of losing the prospect. You also get to have a coaching conversation with that lead. You just get to have a real conversation with what are their goals, what do they struggle with, see if they're a good fit. And if they are, just pitch your program on why will be a great solution to their problem. And you get to start this new journey with this new client by building a very strong relationship in that conversation. Now, some of the bottlenecks of sales-based selling is this process does require someone or you to do sales. And it does require a little bit higher sales skills compared to service-based selling. Now, the lens I've always looked through is no matter what, whether it's you or someone on your team, you have to learn how to sell. That's the only way you're going to grow your gym anyway. So that's why I prefer this method over the service-based selling. However, service-based selling does have a place. So now let's go in a little bit deeper into what are the exact steps. So step number 1 is we're going to get a new lead. We're going to generate a new lead, usually from our paid ads. Now, after they opt in, I like to give them the opportunity to self-book their roadmap session. Now, most leads don't self-book, so we then have to use a lead nurture system, which is usually a few text messages to have a quick conversation, and then we book them for that sales call or that in-person meeting. Now, from there, what we want to do is what I call use a show system to increase the chances that the prospect shows up for their sales call or their in-person meeting. Now, this is what the show system looks like. Step number 1 is you can confirm the appointment and take action. So once the appointment is booked, confirm the appointment with the lead via a text and get them to review your thank you page. So I like to build a thank you page for all my clients. It works really well. Once someone has booked an appointment, you get to send them there for a little bit more information. Now, you don't have to use a thank you page, but what you do need to do is use a text that says you're booked in for your demo call or that roadmap session on blank with whatever the coach's name, your name, whoever's doing that call. So that's step number 1. Step number 2, which happens just a few minutes later, get them to confirm yes. I have found that if you can get someone to reply with a yes, that they'll be at that appointment or be at that call, the chances of them showing up are much higher. So I like to send a text that says, please reply to this text with a yes to confirm you'll be on your demo call on whenever the time is. Then step 3 is you're going to have a 24-hour confirmation. So 24 hours before the appointment, send another text to confirm that lead. Use a text template that says, hey, name, just a friendly reminder of our call tomorrow at whatever the time is. Super excited to chat with you. And step 4, send another text 3 hours before the appointment. And a bonus, include a selfie with whoever's going to be either doing that call or doing that in-person meeting with that prospect. Morning name, it's staff. So this would be whoever is doing that appointment. Wanted to send you a quick hello so you could see me in person and let you know that I'm very excited to chat with you at whatever the time is. And then attach a photo like this. Don't have a professional photo or something like that. You want it to look like you just took a selfie of yourself. So this is Lindsay. She does all our sales calls in my 4 original gyms, and she is a rock star. So send something like that. When you do this, you get a very low no-show rate to your calls. So you get a lot more people show up to those calls or those in-person appointments. Now, after they show up, you want to make sure that you execute that roadmap session, which just means sell that prospect into your program. And I'm going to show you the framework that we like to use below. And then after you sell them, what you're going to do is you're going to book a Kickstart meeting after the sale. This is really important. And I find that most gym and studios don't do this. What they do is they make a sale and then they just throw them into the program. What I found works much better is after you make a sale, sit down with them for a one-on-one Kickstart meeting, and you get to set the expectations of results, go through all the logistics, make sure they're set up for success. And what this does is this increases how long they're going to be a client with you because you build such a strong relationship on the front end and you set very strong expectations, most importantly in terms of results, because I have found one of the main reasons people cancel especially in the first few months of joining a gym is just because their expectations are off. They might come in thinking that they're going to lose 30 pounds in the first month. And when they don't, they say, this program isn't the best fit, and they go and try something else. Whereas if you get a chance to sit down and you say, hey, new clients, with this program, we're going to lose about 1 pound per week. So if your goal is to lose 30 pounds, it's going to take us about 30 weeks to get to that goal. Does that sound good? And they're going to say, sounds good. And just by doing that, you've set the expectations. So now in the first month, when they lose 4 pounds, they don't feel shit. This sucks. They say, great, I'm right on track. And it makes a massive difference. So let's briefly walk through what is the sales framework that I like to use. Step number 1 is build rapport and framing. So you just greet them warmly and confidently, set an energetic and welcoming tone. Hi, name. This is your name from your gym. How are you doing today? They reply, and then you just set the frame. I'm excited to chat today and hear more about you and your goals. And the purpose of this call is to really understand where you're at, what you need, and see how we can help. If everything aligns, then we'll determine which program might be the best fit for you and we can get you set up. Does that sound good? And they say, that sounds good. So you've just set the frame of what this is all about. Then step 2, discover their goals and their aspirations. Ask a bunch of targeted, outcome-driven questions. Just what are their goals? What about those goals are important to them? Those sorts of things. You're just trying to understand, what do they really want to achieve? Then step 3, you're going to uncover their pains and their struggles. So now you know that their goal is to lose 30 pounds because both of their parents died of heart attacks and they want to avoid that situation. Now what you're going to do is uncover the pain and their struggles that they have with getting there on their own. So ask questions like, what's been holding you back from achieving these goals? What have you tried before? Why didn't you think that worked? Why are we talking on the phone today? What's holding you back from getting there on your own? And they're just going to tell you exactly what they need from a program. And then you just take that information and you just circle it back when you get to pitch your program and plug those into why your program is going to help overcome those pains and their struggles. Step 4 is you position your program with your 3 unique mechanisms. Now, as a unique mechanism is what is unique about your program. Now, what I have found is most gyms or fitness programs, what they do is they pitch workouts, nutrition, and accountability. And that's fine because that is what most gyms or fitness programs do. What I like to do is put a sexy name on it. So rather than just say, with our program, you get workouts, nutrition, and accountability, go a little bit deeper and take some time to identify what's unique about your workouts. what's unique about your nutrition? What's unique about your accountability? So, for example, in my 4 gyms, we called our workouts 30 for you workouts. And the premise was they were 30 minutes long and they were designed and customized for you. So that's how I would explain it. I wouldn't say with our program, you get workouts. I would say with our program, you get our unique 30 for you workouts. Now, these are 30-minute workouts that are designed and customized specifically for you. And that's all I would say. It's just a very quick one-liner, but it positions it as something different that they've never heard before. Then the second part, yes, we aligned on nutrition, but I didn't say next we focus on nutrition. I would say next with our program, you get our HBC nutrition program. And that's because we designed a nutrition program that was based on habits, not on counting calories and meal plans and tracking, because I found that was a lot of work to get started for most people. Whereas when we took a habits-based approach, people were more successful. So the next part I would say, and next with our program, you get our HBC nutrition, where we take a habits-based approach to your nutrition success. This ensures that you're never off track and you're successful every single week. Then the next, when it came to coaching or accountability, I wouldn't say with our program, you get coaching and accountability. I would say with our program, you get our PACE coaching system. That stands for personalized accounting, coaching, and education, because we want this to be the last transformation program you ever need. So along the way, not only are we going to support you and motivate you, but we're going to teach you so that when you're done your program, you know exactly what you need to do to maintain your results for the rest of your life. So you can see that we would position workouts, nutrition, and accountability. We would put sexier names on them and then share why they're unique. And it sounds different than every other gym that's out there. Step 5 is where we want to prescribe our program. And what you need to do first is build 3 programs within your gym. Now, always use 3. Don't sell 1, don't sell 5, sell 3. That psychology works best in the sales world. So what you're going to do is start with your core offer. And then what you do is we build a higher offer and we build a lower offer. So I like to call the core offer at gyms your plus program. And this is going to be your main program that you want most people to do. Now, most gyms offer workouts, maybe, and nutrition and accountability. So with this plus program, they're going to get workouts, they're going to get nutrition, and they're going to get accountability. Now, what I like to do is do weekly check-ins, but do a monthly one-on-one, like in-person check-in. That's how I like to build a plus program. Then what you do is you want to build a premier program, which is a level higher. If you look at this, it's exactly like the plus program. The only difference is you get a weekly one-on-one check-in instead of a monthly one-on-one check-in. That way, if you ever have someone sign up for this premier program, it's not way more complex to run. It's exactly the same. You just meet with them one-on-one every single week instead of sending them a message every single week and then having a monthly one-on-one like you would do in your main program. Then below that, you make a basic program, and this is usually just workouts. So you can see that when you build a basic program, you remove all the other stuff that you offer as part of your main service. So that's how I like to structure programs. Now, let's talk about pricing, and then I'm going to talk about how you pitch this. What I like to do, I like to price your core offer at about $75 per week. Price your basic program at $49.99 a week. So I should say price your plus program at $74.99 per week. Price your basic program at $49.99 per week. Then what you want to do is price your premier program at $149.99 per week. You want it to be double the price of your plus program. The reason that is because you're not going to get a ton of people sign up for it, but that's not the point of creating it. The point of creating it is to have a price anchor so that when you explain the price, the person goes, whoa, that's expensive. And then when you explain the plus and the basic, which is what the majority of people are going to go into, it seems much more affordable. But yes, you will get some people sign up for this premier program, but it's going to be like 1 or 2 a quarter. So it's going to be very low. Some people will do it, so you need to be prepared to run it, which is why the only thing that you want to make different is weekly check-ins instead of monthly check-ins. But it's mainly there as a price anchor. So now that you have it built, this is how you're going to prescribe or pitch your program. Based on what we've discussed, I believe that our plus program would be ideal for you because it addresses and then just insert whatever their key pain points and goals were. But we do have 3 different programs, which I'll review with you quickly. We have our premier program, which comes with unlimited sessions, personalized nutrition coaching, weekly coach check-ins, workout accountability, and this is best for fast and measurable results. Our next program is what we call our Plus program. This is you get unlimited sessions, you get personalized nutrition, and you get a monthly one-on-one coach check-in and workout accountability. This is a perfect balance for steady progress. And then finally, you get our basic program. This is unlimited workouts and workout accountability, but you lose the nutrition coaching and you lose the coaching check-ins. So this is great for those easing into a fitness routine. Other than the price, what questions do you have on these programs? That's how you want to end that, because you don't want to say, what questions do you have? Because then they're just going to say, what's the price? So say, other than the price, what questions do you have? Because then they're going to ask, how many times do they have to do this? Or what question is in their head? And you get to overcome that before having to share the price and then potentially overcoming that. Then once you've answered that, or if they say none, then you're going to talk about the price. Now we're going to move to step 6, where we're going to go over the price of the program. So you're going to say, great, our premier program is $149.99 per week. Our plus program, which is our most popular program, make sure you say that because people want to do what the majority of people do, is $74.99 per week. And our most basic program is $49.99 per week. You can even see how I changed my tone there. You want to make it seem like you don't want to do that program. Now, as mentioned, because your goals are to lose 30 pounds over the next 6 months, if I were you, I would join the plus program. Does that sound good? And then they're going to say either that sounds good, or the only objection is now is going to be the price, because you've already asked what questions do you have about the program, and you're going to overcome that. So now if they do have an objection, it's only going to be price. Now, what you can do from here is if they do have a price objection on the $74.99, if you say, if I were you, I would join the plus program, and they say, I'd love to, but I just can't afford that, then you can drop down to your basic program. So you can say, I can understand and appreciate that. What about this then? It won't get you to your goals as fast, but respecting your budget, why don't we start with our basic program? Then at any time, we can always move up to the plus program. This way we can still start to make progress towards your goals. How does that sound? Then they'll probably say, that sounds great. If they still have an objection, then just invite them in for a complimentary workout. If they take you up on that, schedule it, and then move to more of the service-based selling system, which we're going to cover next. Now, if they still don't want to proceed, in my experience, they're just not the best fit, and that's okay. Sometimes I find people just try to overcome these objections far too much, and sometimes people are just not the best fit, and you don't have to make it harder than it is. Now, from there, if they've agreed that whichever program is the best fit, collect their information, get them set up, and then book their Kickstart meeting from there. So that is how you execute the sales-based selling system. Now let's move to the service-based selling system and talk about why you might want to do this. The reasons you would choose to execute service-based selling is limited bandwidth from you or your team to do those front-end sales. So maybe your team, you just don't have a large team, you're always coaching, something like that, and you don't have the ability to get a lead and then book them for a sales call, for example. So you need to then execute service-based selling because you're bringing people in and putting them into your workouts. Maybe your sales skills are weaker or you don't have anyone on your team to do sales. That's when you might choose to do service-based selling. However, these are some of the bottlenecks or the cons of service-based selling, or things that you need to be mindful of. You need to make sure that your experience exceeds their expectations. Otherwise, they're not going to join, because the purpose of doing service-based selling is you're inviting them in for a workout and you're relying on the workout to deliver an amazing experience. So they go, wow, this place is awesome, I want to join. But if your experience sucks, they're not going to join. So their experience needs to exceed their expectations. Now, just be aware that this process will have higher no-show rates compared to sales-based selling because there's more friction. You're inviting them to come in and do a workout to get started. It doesn't mean it's worse. You just need to have that expectation that you will have a higher no-show rate, usually around 50%. So if you booked 20 people to come in for a complimentary workout, you're probably going to only get 9, 10, 11 of them to show up. And that's okay. It's just part of the process. Now, here is how this service-based selling works in more detail. Number one, you're going to generate a new lead. So that new lead is generating similar to the sales-based selling. After they opt in, the lead has the opportunity to book their first workout. If they don't book that first workout, you're going to follow up using some text messages and then book them for that first workout. From there, you're going to use the show system to increase the chances of that prospect showing up to their first workout. You're going to see that the show system is very similar, just a little bit different wording that you're going to use. So number one, you confirm the workout and take action. Once the first workout is booked, confirm the workout with the lead via a text, something like you're booked for a complimentary workout on whatever the start time is. And then similarly, I like to send them to a thank you page that just has some more expectations on it. It might have a video, kind of like a hero video or some testimonials from your gym. That's what I like to build for my clients. From there, you're going to confirm with that same yes, get them to say yes, that they're going to be there. So send them a text that says, please reply to this text with a yes to confirm you'll be at your workout on whenever it is. Then you're going to send another 24-hour confirmation, just like the sales-based selling. Okay. Hey, name, just sending a friendly reminder of your workout tomorrow at whenever it is. Our team is very excited to meet with you. Now with this one, attach a photo of your team to that text message. And then finally, we have the 3-hour confirmation. Morning, name, we're all ready for you today for your complimentary workout. See you soon. So you can see that the show system for getting people to show up for that first workout is very similar to the show system to get them to show up for their call or their in-person appointment. You're basically just changing the wording from call to first workout. Now let's flip back and finish going through the service-based selling. Now the next step is you've got that lead and you've booked them for the first workout. You want to have a 10-minute clarity call. Now this is the part that most people overlook, but this is what is going to really make this process work. Before the lead comes in for the first workout, that's key. Before they come in, call the lead for a 10-minute clarity call. And the purpose of this call is a very soft sell where you're going to determine if they're a good fit and you give a brief overview of the program and finally set the expectations for their first workout. So I'm going to go through that down here in a minute. It's similar to the framework for actually making a sale over the phone, but it's a lot quicker. It's a little shorter, and you don't actually pitch your program. Then they come in for the first workout where you want to deliver an extremely high client experience for this first workout. And I would recommend that you celebrate that client in some capacity. Now, after the first workout, what you're going to do is immediately following that, you're going to invite the prospect to the front desk and book them in for their second complimentary workout. You're going to also let them know you're going to send them an email with the program options so they have the evening to decide which program is best for them. So you're going to say something like, tonight you'll receive an email detailing our program options, review it, and tomorrow let us know which option fits you best. We'll address any questions there too. You may feel a little bit sore today, but movement and hydration will help. Then after they leave, you're going to send the prospect the email, which I'm going to show you below. Then the prospect's going to come in the next day for their second workout. When they complete their second workout, invite them over to the front desk again, ask them, so which program would you like to get started with? They're going to let you know, you get them set up. And then similarly to the sales-based system, you book their kickstart meeting. So you can see with the service-based selling, there's more steps because you are inviting them in for a couple complimentary workouts, and then you're sending them an email to make the sale. So you can see with this system, you need a lot less sales skills. However, there is more opportunity to lose that prospect. There's a little bit more friction because they're coming in for workouts, etc. But for some gym and studio owners, for them and their team, I have found that this is a better system for them to execute. Next, let's go into a few more details of the service-based selling system, starting with the 10-minute clarity call. Now, this is a very important part of this system, but I find that most gyms don't do this when they invite people in for a complimentary workout, but it's the secret sauce that makes this work really well. And you're going to see that it's very similar to the framework that you use in sales-based selling. You basically just don't pitch your program at the end. So you're going to start by building some rapport and frame why you're on the call today. Hi, name. I'm excited to chat today and hear more about you and your goals. The purpose of this quick call is to really understand where you're at, what you need, and I'll share what to expect when you come in for your complimentary workout. Sound good? They say, sounds great. Then you discover their goals and their aspirations. Again, you're just discovering what are your goals and what about those goals are important to you. Very similar to what you're doing in the sales-based selling. Step number 3, uncover their pain and their struggles. These are the exact same questions. What's been holding you back from achieving these goals? Why are we on the phone today? What have you tried in the past? Why do you think that didn't work, etc.? Step 4, same as sales-based selling. Position your program with your 3 unique mechanisms. Explain what are your 3 mechanisms are and how that's going to help them. Then step 5, this is where it starts to get just a little bit different from the sales-based selling. What you're going to do is you're going to prescribe, you're going to let them know which program you feel is best, but that's where it ends. You're not going to pitch. So you're going to say, based on what we've discussed, I believe that our Plus program is going to be ideal for you because it addresses, again, whatever their goals and their problems are. But then you're going to say, however, it's important that we both feel 100% confident it's a perfect fit. So our next step would be to come in for that complimentary workout. This gives you a feel for our community, our coaches, and how we operate. Sound good? And they say, sounds good. And then you say, great, I've got you scheduled for tomorrow at 8 a.m., whatever the time is. Does that still work for you? They say, yes. Perfect. You're all set. I'm really looking forward to seeing you for your complimentary workout. It's going to be great. If anything comes up, please let me know. And then what you're going to do is you're going to end with just set the expectations. You're going to say, now, just so you know, when you come in for your first workout, this is where you're going to arrive 10 minutes early. Let them know what you're going to do when they get there, who they're going to be meeting, all of those things. So I don't know how this looks in your gym or your studio, but after you go through that, you just want to set the expectation of what they're going to do when they come to their complimentary workout. So you can see this 10-minute clarity call, it's very similar, but when you get to the point of the end, now you're just confirming the appointment and setting expectations rather than pitching the program, going over prices, and actually signing them up. So then they're going to be coming in for their first workout. Now they're going to have their first workout. I'm going to scroll back to the top here. So they have their first workout. You just had the 10-minute clarity call. They come in for their first workout. After the first workout, you invite them over to the front desk. You book their second complimentary workout, and then you let them know you're going to send them an email. Here is the email that you're going to send them. And this is what you're going to use to make the sale. And the reason that this works is because initially, when I thought about trying an email sale, I was very hesitant because I thought if it was as easy as sending an email, everybody would do it. And most gyms don't do that. I say I have a typo here, 49. So, but if you have that clarity call, which is basically like the sales call, you just actually don't make the sale. And now they've come in for that workout and they love it. They're ready to sign up. So now you're just saying, here are the programs, and you're letting them pick. So that's why this works. But it only works when you execute the clarity call and you execute a good experience when they come in for their first workout. Here is the email that you're going to send. Subject line is, great job today. Here's what's next. Hi, name. Fantastic work today. Your first session. It was great seeing you in action. I'm confident you're on track to achieve your fitness goals. Based on your goals and the workout today, here are the recommended program options that will help you see the fastest, most sustainable results. And then you're just going to put your program options like we went over in earlier on in this video. You just put their program options with the prices. Now, I like to put in a special action bonus to get them to actually take action on signing up. So special action bonus to reward your commitment, we're offering to waive our regular $100 sign-up fee, but only if you enroll in the next 48 hours. Let me know which option you'd like to start with, and I'll reserve your spot right away. Reply back with your selection, and we'll get you set up immediately. Excited to have you on this journey, and then sign off. Now, some people will reply back to the email, and they'll say, I want to go with the Plus program. Some people are going to come in for that second workout, and you might have to have the conversation there. So they might not get to the email, but when they come in for that second workout, you can confirm which program they want to go with and then sign them up. So that is service-based selling and sales-based selling, the two systems that I have found work best. You can decide which is the best selling system for you, and hopefully this video will help you install these into your gym or your studio.